Prashant. Okay. Start, beta.
Children are not things to be molded, but are people to be unfolded. A very warm
Recording in progress.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped.
I think there is some technical error, so let's start again.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, you can start. Is she here or has she been disconnected?
She's been disconnected.
She's here. Yeah, start. Yeah, start.
I think there's a double thing coming, double echoing or something happening.
Ma'am, can we start?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Children are not things to be molded, but are people to be unfolded. A very warm welcome to our panelists and viewers. I am Sia Bhatia.
I am Kesar Mathur.
And I am Vani Desai.
And we are going to be the moderators for today's panel discussion on the topic, Shell Them Out of the Pain, You Have the Chance to Break the Chain. Though children are considered to be the human form of God, yet these innocent souls are child labor. Child labor यानी कि बाल श्रम या बाल मजदूरी. किसी भी बच्चे से उसके बाल्यकाल के दौरान पैसों या अन्य किसी भी लालच के बदले में करवाया गया काम को हम बाल श्रम कहते हैं. बाल श्रम की वजह से बच्चों से उनका बचपन, खेलकूद और शिक्षा का अधिकार छीन लिया जाता है. इन बच्चों को काम में लगातार शारीरिक, मानसिक और सामाजिक रूप से प्रताड़ित किया जाता है. बाल श्रम हमारे देश और समाज के लिए एक बहुत ही गंभीर विषय है और आज समय आ गया है कि हम इसे जड़ से उखाड़ दें.
Yes, I totally agree. In fact, not only that, but the fact child labor is so prominent and yet people still fail to realize its impact. The fact big fashion brands like Shein, Zara, and many more are incorporated in child labor in such a massive way, and people still buy from these brands. Although, can you really blame them? No one has really come up with a proper alternative for likable and affordable clothing yet.
Yes, Kesar, exactly. बच्चों का हर दिन गलत इस्तेमाल होता है. उनको जैसा सिया ने कहा खिलौनों की तरह माना जाता है. ये रोकना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है.
Now we have some statistical data for child labor. The first two images give us the number of children working between the age group of 5 to 14 years in different states of India. We can clearly make out that the numbers and percentages are quite high. This graph gives us the number of hours children work as child laborers, and we see that a very high proportion of children work more than 9 hours and not even a quarter work less than 6 hours. In India, 10.1 million children are working as child laborers, out of which 4.5 million are girls and 5.6 million are boys. All over the world as well, the figures are quite high and disturbing.
अभी तो हमको करनी है पढ़ाई, मत करवाओ हमसे कसरत और कमाई. माने ना माने हर बच्चे की यही पुकार है. इन बच्चों के बचपन के वो अनमोल पल को छीन कर मजदूरी उनको बर्बाद कर देती है. शायद मजबूरी ही है, मगर इसको कम करने की कोशिश तो करनी ही होगी ना. बस इसीलिए सभी को जानकार करने के लिए कि इन नन्हे नन्हे से बच्चों की क्या क्या झेलना पड़ता है, हमारे स्कूल के कुछ होनहार अभिनेताओं ने एक प्रदर्शन तैयार किया। आइए एक झलक से ही उनको खुद को जानकार करें।
ये छोटू, घर साफ क्यों नहीं है? आधे घंटे पहले मैंने बोला था कि पूरा घर साफ चाहिए।
माफ कर दीजिए साहब, अभी चोट लग गई थी ना, तो चला नहीं जा रहा था। मैं अभी बस 15 मिनट में साफ कर देता हूँ।
15 मिनट? तुझे समझ नहीं आता है? सफाई आधे घंटे पहले होनी चाहिए थी। पगार नहीं मिलेगी आज की अब।
प्लीज ऐसा मत कीजिए, बहुत भूख लगी है मुझे। कल भी मैंने कुछ नहीं खाया था।
हाँ बिल्कुल, एक तो सफाई नहीं की, ऊपर से जबान लड़ा रहा है। तो मैं
यार, ये बच्चा कौन है तेरे पीछे?
कौन? ये तो ऐसे ही रखा हुआ है, घर के छोटे मोटे काम कर देता है।
छोटे मोटे काम कर रहा है मतलब? यार ये तो बच्चा लग रहा है।
बच्चा कहाँ से हो गया? जबान देखिए इसकी, बड़ों से भी ज्यादा तेज चलती है।
यार लग तो छोटा ही रहा है। कितने साल का होगा ये?
होगा कुछ 10-12 साल का। क्यों, तुझे क्या करना है?
हेलो बाबा, कैसे हैं आप? दीदी बोली आपका फ़ोन आया था। आप ठीक तो है ना बाबा? कुछ काम था क्या?
अरे गुड़िया, हम बिल्कुल ठीक हैं। तुम्हारे लिए कोई खुशखबरी लाए हैं। हम जिनके यहाँ प्रेस करके कपड़े बेचते थे ना, वहाँ पे कोई खाली लैपटॉप पड़ा है। तुम्हारी ऑनलाइन क्लासेस का बंदोबस्त करने के लिए हम साहब से बात जरूर करेंगे उस लैपटॉप के बारे में।
बाबा आप कितने अच्छे हैं बाबा, थैंक यू। हम इतने समय से पढ़ाई नहीं कर पा रहे थे, हम आपको बता नहीं सकते हम कितने खुश हैं। आपके साहब का भला हो बाबा।
चल गुड़िया, अब रखते हैं, काम आ गया है कुछ। सॉरी गुड़िया, माफ कर दे मुझे गुड़िया। बहुत कोशिश की हमने, लेकिन साहब नहीं माने। काम से भी निकाल दिया है गुड़िया, उन्होंने मुझे काम से भी निकाल दिया।
कोई बात नहीं बाबा, आप चिंता मत कीजिए। साहब की भी कोई तकलीफ होगी ना कि वो अपना लैपटॉप नहीं दे पा रहे। कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है हमें, आप बिल्कुल चिंता मत कीजिए। हम अपनी पढ़ाई का इंतजाम खुद कर लेंगे जी।
इतनी प्यारी हो तुम बेटा, समझती हो तुम हमें। हम और भी कोशिश करेंगे तुम्हारे लिए, पर इस बार के लिए मैं माफी मांगता हूँ बेटा, मैं माफी मांगता हूँ।
ठीक बाबा, आप मेरी चिंता मत कीजिए। हाँ जी बाबा, ठीक है बाबा, हम रखते हैं। हाँ ठीक है, बाय बाय।
हाँ जी, वो डिटेल्स आप तक पहुँच जाएंगी। मैं आपको फ़ोन करती हूँ। क्या हुआ? रो क्यों रही हो? सब ठीक तो है?
बाबा का फोन आया था, कह रहे थे लैपटॉप नहीं भिजवा पाएंगे। अब हम कैसे पढ़ेंगे दीदी?
अरे इतनी सी बात और तू रो रही है यहाँ बैठ के। अगर तुझे पढ़ना ही है ना, तो मैं हूँ तेरे साथ, मैं तेरा साथ दूंगी। राजू का लैपटॉप है ना, वो ले ले, मैं खुद तुझे पढ़ाऊंगी। तू और मैं साथ मिलके पढ़ेंगे, खूब मजे से पढ़ेंगे। टेंशन बोलना फिर।
सच्ची? आप आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया दीदी।
मुझ पे विश्वास कर, सारी फिक्र दूर।
एजुकेशन इज़ द की टू सक्सेस। ये बातें तो आपने कई बार सुनी होंगी, बट ट्रस्ट मी, इट वर्कड आउट फॉर मी। सिर्फ एक मददगार की वजह से। आप अगर पढ़े लिखे हैं तो अपने हाउस हेल्प्स की भी मदद कर सकते हैं, उनकी भी ज़िंदगी आप बदल सकते हैं।
So, ma'am, this was the play. We hope you liked it. Okay, we can conclude.
So no, I think we all saw how these children, they work day and night. But as we saw in the last scene, a ray of hope in this darkness of helplessness can change someone's life and make it even more beautiful. We need to step up to help the ones in need around us. We need to introduce to them the ray of hope. To really understand how they feel, we have interviews with 2 house helps voicing their opinions.
अच्छा, सो पहला प्रश्न ये है कि जो आपके बच्चे हैं वो स्कूल्स वगैरह में जाते हैं?
जाते हैं।
आप अपनी पढ़ाई को ये सब कंप्लीट नहीं कर पाए थे अपने बचपन में, सो आप चाहोगे कि आपके बच्चे अपनी पढ़ाई पूरी कर सके, कंप्लीट कर पाए?
मतलब आपके बच्चे पढ़ना चाहें?
अगर आपको बचपन में पढ़ने वगैरह का चांस मिलता, पढ़ाई लिखाई का चांस मिलता, सो आप पढ़ते?
मैं तो मन लगा के पढ़ती।
मन लगा के पढ़ते?
अगर पढ़ाने वाला मिला तो पढ़ सकते हैं।
आपका अभी जो ये वाला काम है जो आप करते हो, उसका आपका एक्सपीरियंस कैसा है?
अच्छा है।
अच्छा, मतलब चल रहा है काम चल।
अच्छा, सो पढ़ाई होने से क्या बदलाव आता है?
बड़ा होता तो फिर दूसरा काम करते।
अभी कितने साल के हो?
18।
ये 18 साल। एंड आप क्या करते हो वैसे काम?
इसमें काम करते पूरे टाइम का घर पे।
हाँ, सो आप कितने टाइम से काम कर रहे हो?
3 साल से काम कर रही हूँ।
3 साल से, मतलब जब से आप 15 साल के थे? अच्छा, एंड आपको एजुकेशन मिली है, पढ़ाई वगैरह? कहाँ, कौन सी क्लास तक?
वैसे तो मैं 5वीं तक थी।
5th तक। अच्छा, दीदी, अगर आप जब और थोड़े बड़े होंगे, जब आपके बच्चे होंगे, आप चाहोगे कि वो सेम इसके अंदर काम करें या उनको एजुकेशन मिले, उन्हें पढ़ाई वगैरह सब मिले? पढ़ाई मिले। क्यों?
ऐसे जैसे सबका सपना होता है।
सब, हाँ, सपना, सो आपका सपना है कि आपके बच्चे को पढ़ाई मिले। हाँ, बहुत अच्छा, बहुत अच्छी बात है। एंड अगर अभी आप पीछे टाइम में जा सकते थे, जब आप 15 साल के हैं, जब आपको कहते कि जाके आपको काम करना पड़ेगा, उसकी जगह अगर आप जाके पढ़ सकते थे तो आप पढ़ोगे? जाके पढ़ेगा आप? ओके, नाइस। एंड अभी आपको अपना काम अच्छा लगता है? सच सच बताना, आपको कुछ वो करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है।
मतलब
जो भी आप ये काम कर रहे हो, आपको ये अच्छा लगता है या फिर?
नहीं, अच्छा भी लगता है, नहीं भी अच्छा लगता है, क्योंकि घर में मजबूरी है तो करना पड़ता है।
हाँ, सर, वरना अगर आपका भी मन होता ना कि ऐसे कुछ एजुकेशन ढंग से पढ़ लिख के कुछ अच्छा कर सके, है ना? सो एक ऐसे में बहुत बार होता है, जैसे आप जो 15 साल के थे, ऐसे ही बहुत बार जो मेनली जो छोटे ही बच्चे होते हैं, घर की मजबूरी की वजह से या किसी भी अलग अलग रीजंस की वजह से कभी किडनैप हो जाते हैं, उनको बचपन से ही ये काम के अंदर लगा देते हैं, कंस्ट्रक्शन में या घर के या इन सब काम में। सो इसको हम चाइल्ड लेबर कहते हैं, बच्चे का काम करना, जो अलाउड नहीं है, इंडिया में भी अलाउड नहीं होना चाहिए। हाँ, सो अभी आपको लाइक कुछ है आपके पास लाइक ऐसे बोलने के लिए कि आप उन्हें क्या बोलोगे जो चाइल्ड लेबर्स होते हैं, ये रुकने चाहिए, नहीं होने चाहिए?
नहीं, रुकने चाहिए।
हाँ, ओके। सो हाँ, ठीक है दीदी, मैंने आपको आपसे यही क्वेश्चंस पूछने थे।
हमने जैसा अभी अभी देखा, चाहे वो बड़ा हो या युवा कर्मचारी, दोनों को ही अपने बचपन में मजदूरी करनी पड़ी है। हम देख सकते हैं कि कितनी शिद्दत से ये दोनों ही चाहते थे कि वे पढ़े होते, पढ़कर अपनी जिंदगी बदल सकते। और बेशक वे ये भी चाहते हैं कि उनके बच्चे वो काम ना करे जो उन्हें करना पड़ा, बल्कि पढ़े लिखे और पुश्ती से बड़े हों। जानने के लिए कि आखिर हम इन लोगों की मदद कैसे करें, क्या करें खुद के दम पर, इस समस्या को खत्म कैसे करें, यहाँ आज हमारे साथ 3 पैनलिस्ट हैं, श्रीमती रंजना जोशी जी, श्रीमती निकिता जावा जी और श्री अंशुमन दे जी।
First, we have Miss Ranjana Joshi. Ranjana ma'am has been running a NGO called Just for Myself, which aims at education and support for children of economically weaker sections. Her expertise is in training teachers with making education direction more effective. Her NGO aims at providing educational support to EWS students and provides training programs to teachers in small towns, villages, and cities. She had a long, illustrious career in education, and for a long period of time, she also headed the junior school of Birla Vidyaniketan. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We are also honored to have Nikita Jawa as our panelist, who is currently working in the Education Department of Odisha as a consultant. Not only that, she has also taught a government school in Sangam Vihar as a part of a 2-year-long fellowship under Teach India, and has completed her graduation in statistics from Sri Venkateshwara College, University of Delhi, and is planning to pursue her master's in public administrations in the future as well. She's also an ex-Beaverite. We're honored to have you with us here today, ma'am.
Anshuman Deji. He has served as a mentor with Paryavaran Sanrakshan Gatividi, a national level NGO aimed at protecting the environment. He was also associated as a core team member and later as a co-founder with the NGO named Act for Change. He has also previously been associated with the Truth India. He is currently working with World Youth Parliament for water as a researcher and is also the founder and CEO of an NGO named We for Tomorrow that aims at working towards achieving 6 defined sustainable development goals by UNDP. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we now start off with our main discussion. Ranjana ma'am, I would like to ask you that you were the vice principal of the junior school. So when you left the school, what motivated you to start off with an NGO?
It's been like this, Sia. And first of all, thanks to everybody, to your organization, and to my wonderful school, Birla Vidyaniketan, for allowing me to be here and participating in this discussion, which actually is the need of the hour, right? So, Vani, Sia, Kesar, all of you, and Nitya, and there's some more there. Really grateful to you. Now, basically, after I retired, it was always there on my mind, because I've grown up in a household where we would see, we would be educate. My parents would be taking up the charge of one of their mates' child or somebody. And normally, in those days in Dehradun, we lived in big houses and all. So there would be an apartment where there would be a room or something where the servants' quarters, they would say, and my parents would take up the charge of the children of those people working in our homes, and they would teach them. So it was always very near to my heart. And then in one of my walks, I saw these little boys picking up, bottles and rag pickers, basically. So every day I would see them and I would realize that something is really wrong. If children are doing this work, and I would ask them, why are you doing it? अरे मम्मी तो काम पे चली गई हैं, पापा भी चले गए हैं, तो इससे हम बर्गर खा लेंगे, कुछ खाना खा लेंगे, ये बोतलें बेच के. तो people drink and all, they would throw the bottles around. Now these little children would have those sacks with them. They would put stuff in it and then would go there and sell them off. Now, so I rounded all of them. So initially I got about 8 children who would do all these kind of things, who were indulging in these kind of activities. And I was really so worried about them, because one, their clothes were dirty, their hair was dirty, and then they were picking this stuff up and then selling it and then eating whatever they were.
Recording stopped.
So it was so painful that I thought, let me round them up. So I said, okay, from tomorrow onwards, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we will meet in the park. We would sit there in the park and I would teach them the basics and get them notebooks and pens and everything.
Recording in progress.
This is how I started this venture. And then I got the migrant children's labor joining in. They would see these children here, then they also came in. And now I have about 100 of them with me. And we've admitted most of them in schools. So it's been a very long journey, very arduous, where, their parents would say, nahi madam, ab aap itna padha doge, fir isko kaise karenge? So we started putting them in schools, sponsoring their education. And happy to note with you that now we have only 3 children left who don't have a school. Rest all have been admitted, and we've arranged for their online things. We donate, these smartphones wherever we can, the cheaper variety, so that their classes can keep going on. People who have second-hand computers, they hand them to us, so we give it to them. And a lot of people, and the beautiful part of this whole journey is that in it's my old students who are my volunteers. Many of them located in Gurgaon are pitching in. Somebody gives 1 hour, somebody gives 2 hours. Of course, COVID times are different. And some of those are married, they have children, but they said, okay, ma'am, we'll join you. Because I've been all over the country. So I have these girls from Meerut, I have these people from Jaipur, I have people from Dehradun, I have people, wherever I had a posting, I have these children there because I was lucky to teach them. So that's the beginning. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed, it's a great initiative by you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, I totally agree. That is such a progressive journey. And I think that's a perfect example of the quote, if you start, others will follow. So, yes. So moving on, Nikita ma'am, even being so young, you've done some remarkable work for the betterment of our community. So I just wanted to ask, how did you move to this path of helping others?
Thank you for your question. And thank you, ma'am, for your sharing your experience. It's lovely to hear you and be here with you. Yes, so I was, after doing my graduation in statistics, I was placed in a consulting firm and I was working there. I worked there for a year long. And while the work culture was amazing there, I was getting to learn a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I was thinking, what am I being productive at, and what am I adding to the society? It's just increasing the profits of the company, and it's my hard work, and everybody's hard work is just increasing the profits of the company. And so that was the point where I thought that I wanted to move to the social sector and do something for the betterment of the society. With my experience earlier with volunteering with Teach for India and Teach India, which is a Times of India initiative, I had some experience volunteering and interning in these organizations as a teacher and as an educator. So that is when I thought of joining the Teach for India Fellowship. The Teach for India Fellowship, it's a 2-year-long fellowship wherein you are placed in a government school in an urban slum in 7 cities, and you get to fill the vacancy of a government teacher. Now your role is to teach the students in the government school. That is the limited expectation out of a fellow, but that is not all that the fellow does. There are various other things. There are various other projects and opportunities wherein we engage the child to provide quality education. Now, most of us present in this discussion today, we are all privileged enough to get a very good schooling. We receive quality education. We have smart classes. We have the use of the access to digital. We have digital access, and we can participate in X number of co-curriculars, competitions, discussions such as these, and we also have our support from our parents, right? But on the other hand, a student who's studying in a low-income private school or in a government school, he or she does not have these same privileges and opportunities. The school that I taught in, the number of students, average number of students in a class was 90. It went up to 100 and 120 as well. So imagine a class wherein there are 90 to 100 students. It's a problem for the teacher as well as for the students, because the students do not get the individual attention that they should, right? And the ideal PTR, pupil to teacher ratio, is 30:1. And except for these, there are other challenges in a government school, studying in a government school, such as lack of resources, lack of opportunities to participate in competitions, the freedom of choice to do some co-curricular activities. And major problem there is lack of parental involvement and lack of parental support, with which we can do a lot in our lives. And so a Teach for India fellow tries to build all of these gaps in the 2-year-long fellowship that they do in the urban slums in the government schools.
This initiative is
So
great.
Yes, and the story was like really inspiring, because at the beginning, to actually stray away from a whole group and start your own path, that takes a lot of courage. And thank you so much for expressing the fact that we are even being able to study right now during the whole pandemic situation. I feel like we all are really grateful for that. So ma'am, along these lines, since you work as a consultant under the education department in Odisha, what is the response towards education there?
Yeah, I think the response to education is good. The government is doing a lot of things to improve the education quality, but the challenge there is that there is a lot of tribal population, a lot of rural population. I would say 1/3 of the entire population is are tribals, and where there is lack of internet, lack of access to basic necessities, and poverty, lack of awareness. And because of that, education becomes a challenge there. But I think the good things about Odisha are that they motivate women and girls a lot there. The GPI, which is the Gender Parity Index, is greater than the ideal GPI of the country. And another good thing is that the pupil teacher ratio that I was talking about, which is poor in Delhi government schools, there it is close to the ideal PTR. But again, the problem is that 1/3 of the population is rural and tribal, and hence there are issues of poverty, issues of awareness, and lack of access to basic necessities, due to which families are not able to provide basic things to the students, and students are also hence not very well educated.
Yeah, I can understand. And your experience was also so inspiring. I would want to do that, some of it also myself too. So moving on, Anshuman sir, you have and even currently are working in various NGOs. So how do you aim at working in these, and how does work go about?
Could you please repeat the question? I mean, I haven't found internet connection.
Yeah, sure. I was asking that you are already you have already worked, and you're currently also working in various NGOs. So how do you aim at working in these, and how does work go about in it?
Okay. So if I talk about my journey and my motivation for why I work, I would say that it is not something that came up to me all of a sudden. It grew with me. There are multiple references. Even I, as a person, I don't come from a very good, very well-off background. I belong to a lower middle class family, and I've seen hard times. But apart from that, but then I was privileged that my dad and mom, my parents actually, even though they were facing financial issues, they always told me one thing, that education is something which will stay with you for the rest of your life. And this is the only way you can move ahead and do something good for the other people. And my dad used to always say one thing, that if you give to people, you don't lose anything. Rather, you grow and you connect and you network to the people. That creates a lot of goodwill and brings a change in the society. That is how I grew up. But apart from that, I had certain motivations which motivated me to work again. I was one of those I was one of those kids. I'm still a kid now because I'm still 21. I'm very young. But I was one of those that used to think like, "अरे दूसरा कर लेगा, मैं क्यों मेरे को क्यों करना है?" But then suddenly I remember that changing moment in me when. So I'll try to elaborate the situation. I was walking by the streets. So I saw a family. They were wasting food. So the kid actually had a packet of chips in his hand, and he threw it away. And there was, at the same time, there was a kid who was not even wearing a cloth, and they came up to the kid in a naked way. They came up to the family and they're like, "Kuch khana de do," and they're like, "We don't have food." So I found it pretty disheartening, and that is where I started that no, I need to do something, because if I don't, who will? And I'm so happy that I am able to meet Nikita ma'am and Ranjana ma'am here, who have done certain great things, and this is really commendable. But apart from that, if I talk about my NGO or what we stand for, although yes, we stand for 6 SDGs, six Sustainable Development Goals out of the 17 as decided by UNDP. But the main focus or our main niche is always quality education, because that is what I and my members in the group, the team members, which includes Sanskriti Bhatnagar, Harshit Sultani, and many more people. So they believe that it is only by education that we can liberate minds. It is only by education that we can change this world. But when I talk about education, I don't talk about the degrees, or I don't talk about any stipulated course or module. What I talk about is a holistic development of a person, more about their character, more about how they think, how they perceive the world. Because at the end of the day, it is all about our intentions. Whatever we decide, whatever we do is backed by our intentions of why we are doing it, right? So, I mean, yes, I am currently interning with a MobiQuick. I'm a corporate guy. So interning with MobiQuick has also taught me a lot of things. Their journey, the culture that actually they follow, that has helped me to become a good person, a person that has evolved from his former self. But apart from that, the reason why I devote my time, because I don't get much of a time. I'm a student. I have to study for my degree. I'm a second year undergrad. I study for my degree. I do my full-time internship with MobiQuick, and then I am currently heading the research department for World Youth Parliament for Water. I was previously also related with Truth India, as you mentioned. Truth India is again a very big. It's a growing company. It's a growing e-newspaper company or e-media company. So I used to work for them. Then I was also associated with Act for Change, where I was the co-founder, and I started as a core member, and then Paryavan and Sanrakshan Gatividi. I always wanted to work for them, not because I want to build a resume. That unfortunately today people, they do it for the sake of building their resumes or something like that. But I do it because I see a need, and as Ranjana ma'am very rightly said, that this is the need of the hour. I believe the same. And if I just say one thing, if not us, then who? I'm not doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for the people who are currently here. I'm doing it for the generations to come. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for all of our kids that will walk this earth in the coming years. So the thing is, we are so much self-consumed by our own interests. We are so much self-consumed by what we do or what we want to be, that we forget that there is whole different world out of our own spectrum. So the thing is, we need to see out of the box. We need to see that we need to understand this fact that there is more to life than what we see. So that is what motivates me to work day and night, because I believe that changes are inclusive, and I will not stop. I will not stop till that time I don't see that people are there. I mean, again, throughout my life, that is one very good thing that I believe I had. I never lost faith. I have been through a lot of dark phases in my life itself. I'm myself suffering from a medical condition, mental medical condition. But then, there are certain things which seems which has to be. Look, so when I was talking with my team last time we met, we had a meeting last time. So I was talking, I told this thing to them that this initiative that we are taking, it is bigger than any one of us can ever be. It is bigger than any one of us can ever imagine to be or to achieve what we are. We cannot match this because this is something which we are not doing just for ourselves, but for this world, for the coming generations at the same time. So yeah, that is why I work, and that is how I go about with my journey.
Yeah, your faith refills mine too. Listening to speakers, like, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, please continue. Sorry.
Wonderful. I mean, it is so inspiring. I have taken it much later in my day, Anshuman Day, though it was always very close to my heart. But if young people like you can think like this, and even if each one takes the responsibility of even 5 kids, it's not that you have to invest a lot of money. The most important investment is time. If we can give the time, there's nothing like it. It's matchless. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I
much.
agree, ma'am. I agree to you, ma'am. I mean,
You're absolutely right.
yeah, I find it pretty intriguing when people say that we don't have time to offer. But then I say one thing, it is all about priorities. Because if me being an undergrad, if I am able to do this kind of things, I work for 18, 19 hours a day. I maintain my personal life at the same time. I have a balance in both the life, personal and professional life. But then it is like, yeah, we need to find a balance.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you also mentioned that education is the most important way that we can reduce this, that we can eradicate this problem. So, what are the other ways that we can use to eradicate this problem, as is asked? So, because most of the times education is not possible to spread on most of the areas and rural areas as well, as Nikita ma'am said, that education is not possible there as much. So, what do you think that could be other ways from which we can use, which we can control this problem?
Should I speak?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Or maybe we should begin with Nikita because she is in the most challenging area. Yeah, Nikita, we'll hear from you first.
Sure, ma'am. I think the governance and the what happens at the system level needs to be changed because whatever is decided at the state level goes down to the district level and then to the block level and hence to the village level. A lot of monitoring has to be done. If you're laying down certain guidelines, if you're laying down certain procedures, you have to monitor constantly to see how what is improving, where it is not improving, and get back with an action plan. So I think governance is one. Again, parental involvement, awareness amongst the parents, adult education. It's very important. If the parents are educated with about the importance of education, they will invest their time and efforts to to motivate their students to study. I think these two things for me, Ranjana ma'am can add.
Great. I personally feel that, at the urban level, like I am working here with the children of migrant laborers. Now, that's one big issue. Now, these children hardly get admission in any school because they are moving all the time. So I went to a school to admit one of the child in a government school, and the principal says, "Madam, ये तो फिर कल 5-6 महीने में चला जाएगा यहाँ से." मैंने कहा, अरे भाई, आप ट्रांसफर केसेस भी तो लेते हो कि नहीं? आर्मी वाले का बच्चा या किसी और का बच्चा सब आते हैं कि नहीं हमारे पास, और फिर वो ट्रांसफर करते हैं, उनको टीसी देते हैं. अब इन बच्चों को तो कोई कुछ देता ही नहीं. They don't give them anything. So these children are left out the most. Now my mission is, I don't know how much time I have, but my mission is to open a school only for the children of migrant laborers, get it recognized by the government, so that when the child leaves me, he goes to another school with the TC which stands valid. So this is one big area, and even the UNICEF and all of them, the United Nations, everybody, lot of talk is there. But as she rightly said, at the government level, if you can persuade people. Now here in Haryana, in Gurgaon, I'm doing what I can. And because of the COVID, all my efforts have kind of come to a halt because of being a senior citizen. But now with both vaccines in order and other things, I think I have to take it up on a war footing. So this is one very important thing, is to make the government understand that this school is not only for those who are below the poverty line, or the EWS as we call them in Delhi. It's for all those who don't have the opportunity to get in a foothold in a proper school. So now we have started with one room where I have arranged for all these children to be there, a library where their children come, and we have the books which are specifically for them, which are pictorial. There's a picture and there's something written in English and Hindi, both of them. So because by empowering them to read, by making them understand, and most importantly to build their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is very low. अरे ये आ गया, ये ऐसा दिख रहा है, ये तो चोरी करके ही जाएगा, कुछ उठा लेगा, हमारे बच्चे के पास मत आने दो इसको. When I started in the garage area of my building, most of the ladies would say कि ये बच्चे, हमारे बच्चों पे बुरा असर पड़ जाएगा, खराब हो जाएंगे हमारे बच्चे. So it was so, भाई इन बच्चों की माई तो तुम्हारे बच्चों को देखती है, तुम्हारे बच्चों की जो नैनी है वो इन बच्चों की माँ है. जो वो अपने बच्चों को नहीं कर पाई, वो इन बच्चों को तुम्हारे बच्चों को वो दे रही है. So that mindset of the people, as young people, we can do it. Every person can change. Every child can, when you see this unfairness, अरे छोटू चाय लाना किसी दुकान पे, तो खड़े होके तुम उस छोटू से चाय मत लो, उसको बताओ कि भाई ये ठीक नहीं है. अवेयरनेस ही तो कर सकते हो ना. उस समय लड़ाई तो नहीं कर सकते आप, पर हाँ किसी के घर में काम कर रहा है, किसी के यहाँ बच्चा, जैसे उसमें आपके ड्रामा में दिखाया, उस बच्चे को वहां काम नहीं करना चाहिए. आपको घर में जाके बोलने का पूरा अधिकार है. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट रिपोर्टिंग टू द पुलिस एंड ऑल, दैट डजंट हेल्प. It's at the social level that we have to, counsel each other. And children can be the best counselors. Peer group suggestion can always be the best. And if everybody can be, कहते हैं ना, कहीं भी हो आग लगी रहनी चाहिए. तो ये जो आग है हमारे अंदर, अगर वो लगी रहेगी, बात तक चलती रहेगी, तो जरूर कुछ ना कुछ हो. और फर्क पड़ रहा है फर्क. मेरे साथ अब बच्चे आते हैं, पढ़ाते हैं. यंग पीपल, 12th का बच्चा है, वो मैथ्स पढ़ाने आता है. एक बच्चा आता है, वो इंग्लिश पढ़ाने आता है. सो things are changing. Let us not be too, because the COVID has made us too, it's left us in a real dark cloud. But ये हमेशा थोड़ी रहेगा, है ना. जल्दी ठीक हो जाएगा. और अपने लेवल बहुत कुछ.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Ma'am, as you said, that it's very important that we treat everyone equally, because an educated population will only lead to a better future of the country. Ma'am, one more thing I wanted to ask you is that you said that we see people working in our friends or relatives' house, so without compromising our friendship and without our relations and friendship with our relatives and friends, how can we point them out that this is wrong, that making children work at their place is wrong? How can we point that out without compromising our friendship or relation with them?
I know it's very, very difficult, but it all can be done in a very gentle way, in gentle suggestions. You can bring out that government notification है कि आप 14 साल से नीचे बच्चे को काम नहीं करा सकते. आप gently बोल सकते हो कि तुम ऐसे मत करो. Government is getting very aware about it. There may be a police check anytime. These kind of suggestions, and just talking about that, you can make it. It won't happen all the time, but it makes a difference. People start thinking. वो कहते हैं ना कि एक बीज डालने की जरूरत है. जैसे ही बीज डलता है तो बीज तो बड़ा होगा ना. The more you water it, it's going to grow.
Yes,
and there will be a difference. धीरे धीरे पड़ेगा. Confrontation नहीं करना है. That doesn't help. And nobody likes to be ticked and told भाई तू गलत कर रहा है. ऐसे नहीं बोलना है. It is that at this age we get this opportunity. Why not this child? मैंने तो अपनी सोसाइटी में बहुत किया है. और बड़ी हूँ मैं तो शायद
Yes,
it makes a difference for you. It may be. So it's best to reach the mindset of the parent and politely, nicely, things happen. तुम लोग करोगे तो जरूर होगा.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
there is
Because
one
you
thing.
can always tell the parent, yes,
No, please, ma'am. Please continue, ma'am. Please continue. I'm so
there
sorry.
is, you can tell the parent, there are two things, equality and equity. Equality की तो सब बात करते हैं. I'm talking about equity. Equity means you have to empower the child. You have to give him that setup where he can find out his way, where he can stand up on his own feet. So there's a lot of difference. I am giving equity to the children, and government talks about equality. So there is the difference which you have to note between the two and then take it forward. Okay, Anshuman, over to you. Yes.
What I was telling is like after when I heard like Ranjana ma'am and Nikita ma'am, I came to so a different perspective popped out of my mind just now. So I thought I was thinking it all wrong this time. Like I was thinking it from the perspective of an underprivileged kid. But I see there has been a lot of socio-economic disparities between the groups of the society. We have been divided more than what we understand today. Because if as Ranjana ma'am very rightly said that those parents were like हमारा बच्चा affect हो जाएगा उसको खराब संगति में वो गिर जाएगा something like that. I think awareness should. So again, another problem that I see is the lack of inclusion, the lack of acceptance. The thing is, I remember talking to one kid as like, why does he not go to school? So he's like, even if I go to government school, but then वहाँ पे बच्चे accept नहीं करते. As like why? It's like because I don't come from a very well-off background, and they start mocking me, and they don't stop. They start bullying me at the same time. उसके बाद भी then suddenly I also spoke with another children. So I used to play football back then. So I used to get in touch with a lot of kids in the field. So I was talking like, why do you go to school? So he was like, because I get free meal there. So basically the motive of why the things are done has been disrupted, has been very much disrupted with the course of time. Although the intentions were to spread awareness, were to increase the education rate, but then the motive, the awareness was not right. Just like Nikita ma'am told that we need to have proper governance, just to keep a check if the things are going as planned. Because I'll be honest, administration has failed, but then I don't blame the administration either. The change comes from within. It comes from within. It will have to start from the house itself, from a household, from a family. What I believe is more than, we need the underprivileged more than the underprivileged needs us. It's very simple because we actually sustain. So just like we need a maid. They come from an underprivileged section, but then if the maid is okay with not serving us, they can go to different households. So the thing is, when we need them for one thing, we should also give them what they need to be. So with my family, I was very fortunate that I was grown. When I grew up, we had a maid. I used to call her Mossy. So she grew me actually. So she's like my mother. And whenever she was in need of something or the other resources, my dad never hesitated to help her. And I was like, why do you help her even if she's like getting salaries? She's like, see, again, she's investing a lot of her time here, and she's not as well as we are doing at this moment. So as a human, it is our duty that we should actually help the other people. And then is when he says that if you give to people, you never fall short of things. So in I'm Bengali, so in Bengali used to say that যদি তুমি দাও তাহলে মানুষ তোমার কমবে না, তোমার উল্টা বেশি বাড়বে, which means that if you donate, things will not decrease, but then they increase by the blessings. We mean the blessings that we get, it actually helps. Even my grandfather was a very charitable person. So my dad always said that it is because of the grandfather that we are where we are today. So I was very fortunate, even though not economically very fortunate. But then yes, when it comes to the culture of the house, I believe culture also has to play a very important role, because I see a lot of kids, rich kids or kids of my standards or of where I stand. They are spoiled brats, not just spoiled brats, but they're misled. They are misled. They are not aware of what goes on, and they are the reasons. That is the biggest reason which I feel is the biggest problem in today's society. Like we do the things because we have an ulterior motive. we don't do the things that needs to be done. So that is what again I suggest, that we should not try to see and or seek out an opportunity out of anyone's misery. I do the things because it is need to be done. I'm a very prolific believer, so I believe that we should not actually put much emphasis on winning or losing, but rather we should do what needs to be done. And in the way, even if we lose, it is for the good that we do. So
Yeah,
it is
so
okay.
this is, as he rightly said, now because of all this perspective that we've seen today, one very important thought comes in my mind. I had this girl, I was teaching her. I admitted her in a school. She showed some spark in a kind of a private school, paid her fees and everything. And somehow this girl led astray. She went into the wrong path. And why it happened? Because when people were donating, you won't believe it. They were giving her clothes, which were like, there was one backless, there was one side shoulder. We donate without looking at whom we are giving. Now that, see, the internet has made everything very easily accessible to all the children. But the discretion has not come in, or the discrimination is not there, what to see and what not to see. Now, that poor girl wearing those kind of clothes thinks that the mall is the ultimate in life. She went to a mall, she got her pictures clicked. She's just 13 years. She got her pictures clicked in various poses and they were put on Facebook. She got an Instagram account because she was working in somebody's house. So they gave her a smartphone, they gave her an Instagram, they gave her a Facebook, everything. But did that empower her? Did that help her? Rather, it created such a havoc in her life because it's all that glitter and glitz, she got lost in it. And she even took to taking booze and other things with her other friends. She thought that this is the ultimate. Now, as a person who was financing everything for her, and it was a good substantial amount, even if we go to a basic school, 22,000 is nothing, right? Along with uniform, books, and everything. This is the minimum, bare minimum I'm talking about. I'm providing the family rations during the COVID times. And then I see this girl into all this. It really breaks my heart. At the same time, by other trustees, I was told to discontinue paying for her. But after seeing all this and hearing all of you, we will try to reinstate her once again. And maybe we shouldn't have left her. I feel guilty about it. I'm talking about failures. This was one big failure in my life because the mother put her to work and she went in the wrong household. If I had stayed with her, kept on, because of COVID, I couldn't go out. I had to call her over. I couldn't do lots of things which I could have done otherwise. I couldn't do I tell them, I'm coming just now to your Juggi Jopdi. So they would get kind of scared, And they would think, ma'am, aa jayegi to hum kya karenge? So they would be very, very particular about it. And then I would say,
Yeah.
nahi kar pai, but with all this talk with all of you, I think I'm going to take her back again and try
Yes,
to do things.
of course. You showing the path to her will actually lead her to the right direction. I have that gut feeling, I think. And Nikita ma'am, I would like to ask you that,
Recording stopped.
poverty and child labor are correlated. So do you think that reducing poverty will help us reduce child labor as well? Or are there any other factors that may come in the way?
Yeah, I think poverty is a major problem due to which poverty,
Recording in progress.
lack of education again, and also the opportunities for economic opportunities for adults, because of which poverty is there. So if there are enough opportunities, there is enough employment in the nation, there won't be any poverty. So I think we need to focus on employability and also focus on awareness of the right to free and compulsory education. So So I was volunteering with this organization, which is in the section, which is when I realized that RTE 121C, which is Right to Free and Compulsory Education, it has a provision for, in every private school, it provides for a provision for 25% of the seats to the students who come from the underprivileged families.
It's happening only in Delhi, nowhere else. Not
No,
in
no.
Haryana.
In some of the states, some of the organizations are working and they are creating awareness about this. So imagine if the entire nation is aware about this, that our child can go to a private school free of cost. Why will the parent not let him go? So there are many other policies and laws and acts that can get the families out of poverty, but there is a lack of awareness and we need to create that awareness.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But when these people they think that हमारा बच्चा तो स्कूल जाके करेगा क्या उसको, even if it's free of cost, they'll think that बच्चा घर पे किसी और के घर पे जाके काम कर लेगा, and then he will earn something and get something for the family. So they don't send their children to school consequently, and I think that needs to be. About that, we need to spread awareness more and more. Ki education will help you, it will help later in your life, and it will not just it is free of cost right now, and it might take some time for the child, but it will help later more and more than you think it can right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It will help the child to stand on his own feet and define his path, look for his own opportunities. Yes.
Yeah. So you were saying.
It reminds me of one discussion that I was having with a friend of mine. His name is Sanat Raghavan. He's a law student in Nasimonji. So we were talking about poverty and how the mentality of the underprivileged are, or what the parents think of the kids and why do they not send the kids to the schools. So he told me, he quoted one thing that unko samajhna chahiye ki they don't need 11 kids to go and work for them. They need, so he quoted it this way. उनको समझना चाहिए कि उनको 11 बच्चे नहीं चाहिए आईआईएम बनाने के लिए, उनको एक बच्चा चाहिए आईआईएम में जाने के लिए टू मेक अ बेटर फ्यूचर. So that is another very catchy line that he spoke actually, and it actually gave a lot of it made a lot of sense, to be honest, because with the parents, as you told that they say that जाके क्या ही फायदा होगा, या फिर अपन को अभी चाहिए पैसे, we don't need it for the longer run. We need to make them believe. Again, we cannot blame them for the same, because that is the need of their hour, right? Because unka situation aisa hai ki they don't even cannot afford one day meal, and that is where I guess a lot of subsidies can be brought into place where they can get alternatives. And regarding the job sector, with MobiQuick, I have been being a talent acquisition intern. So I hire the people. But I'll tell you one thing: the biggest difference that I see in the market today has been a month, and I have hired over like I have interviewed over 300 plus people. The thing is, the roles are available, but the people, they lack skill set. There is a lot of opportunity, but the thing is, they lack skill set, and that is because our education system is as such. No offense, but then our education system is as such that we are limited to the books, to the bookish knowledge. We do not get the. So I come from Assam. I come from a very small city of Tinsukia, which is again it's the second biggest city in Assam, but then it is a very small city, and it's not developed. It's a developing city. The education sector out here, it's so limited that I wasn't even aware that international relations नाम का भी कोई subject होता है, or that we get to choose psychology in our class 11th and 12th, or that we also can have performing arts as a subject in 11th and 12th. So we have very limited exposure in Assam. I don't blame the people, but then it is because of the failure of the governments. It is because of the failure of the administration that we have to face the same. So if the governance has again, awareness among the parents is very, very important for the underprivileged, from the underprivileged side. But then yes, as my friend he told that we don't need 11 kids. I mean, the parents, they don't need 11 kids to build one IIM. Rather, they need one kid that would go to IIM and provide them with a better life. So yeah.
Yes, sir, exactly. One more question that I had in my mind was that many a times we see children appearing in TV shows and YouTube videos as well. And there are also many beauty pageants where parents get their children enrolled. So many parents even do this to gain fame. So do you think this is a kind of child labor, Ranjana ma'am?
I definitely don't go in for it because I don't believe that this is the right thing to do. And nowadays it's become even more of a practice in all these shows and that we have, that they try to rope in the people from rural backgrounds or from poor households in order to make everything very melodramatic so that there are more eyeballs and people are watching that. And that can only happen if we stop watching these shows. So that's one thing which I feel is not a great idea. And in whatever way I would like to put a stop to it, especially the other than that. And it's not always that they get a lot of money. It's more of that glamour that brings them there.
Yes, ma'am.
The clothes and everything that they get, and it's not even that it is stretching into say a week, 15 days or something. I had children leaving my classes because they were practicing dance to take part in the Indian Idol or whatever those dance shows are. So this needs to really stop, and the government needs to step in here.
Many children are even unaware about this, that they are going into this, they are facing, there like a number of people are watching them, they don't know who is watching them and who is making what comments. So I believe that it should be
I
stopped.
think the government should come in, step in
Yes,
here.
ma'am.
We should stop watching.
Exactly.
Ma'am, but what
Because
if children? So you can go.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I believe there was a series that was dedicated to the same, where the kid was forced against his will to play cricket because his father wants him to become a cricketer or the next Sachin Tendulkar as per se. So yeah, I believe I agree to Ranjana ma'am. I agree to Sia at the same time when we say that again this is a very big problem again. Like me as a child, I have never faced that, but I've seen many people facing that they are bound to do engineering even if they don't want to. So I had a very immediate example of my friend who wanted to pursue bachelor's like BA in economics, but because his father didn't want him to be, his father wanted him to be engineer. He had to take up that course. So that was against his will. So these are certain things like enforcing parents' will on children. So they don't actually provide the children with a free will that be what you want to be. But then again they think again, I don't blame the parents for the same because they think the best for their kids. But at the same time, they need to understand that with proper guidance, anything is possible. So now I used to be an esport athlete. I used to play a lot of PUBG. I represented my team in a lot of different events at the same time, competitive events. So I saw this, like, people, they don't appreciate people being gamers. But if you move outside the Indian society, you'll see that gaming is a very real-time profession that goes around across the world. And gaming sector is actually a booming sector. But then I understand the concerns of the parents when they say that, because they were never aware that something might like this could happen. And there comes the place of a generation gap. I believe generation gap has also to do a lot with this kind of mishappenings today, because the people, we cannot blame them because that is how they were brought up. We need to think more about how to make them believe. So with my parents, even I would say to an extent, they actually influenced me to get into engineering, but then I was always left with an option because I could provide them with a proper logic as to why should I prefer going to engineering more than that. So I used to show them a vision that if I go to engineering, all right, I can sustain, I know that, but the fact is I'll not enjoy it there. And when I don't enjoy a thing, I cannot go ahead with the same. So I want to go into bachelor's of business administration despite being a science student, because I have good communication skills, I can connect with people well, and I have good management skills. And they were like, okay, considering you can go for the same. So it has to be a two-way thing. Like, again, the parents need to be considering, but at the same time the kids must have that zeal and must have that logic to make the parents understand as of why they are thinking that. And I believe that no parent would actually want bad for their kid. So if a kid is able to better explain a parent that this is not good for their satisfaction, then I believe this problem can be dealt with.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Bilkul. And ma'am, you mentioned about how these kids are forced to do this work on TV and in films. But what if children children of our age want to do it? So is that the right age that we can decide to go into this career, and we should try to motivate, invest some of our time into this career as well, this path as well?
I don't think so. Actually, by the time you reach class 11 and 12, you have developed the ability to discriminate between what you want for yourself and what you don't want. Yeah. So that much of level thinking you have been able to garner up all these years. See, when you are in school or when you are in the primary school, you are given various platforms. You go for swimming, you go for taekwondo, you go for skating, you go for drawing, and then you have those utsav, you have the different areas where you can perform and do all that. And then the wonderful thing which you all did in your Rotary when I brought my NGO there and you gave them various platforms to perform. So you have found your feet, right? So if you make a conscious decision that now I really want to, but of course, getting your graduate degree and then in the meantime, pursuing what you like best, whether it's working social work, whether it is gaming, whether it is getting into reading, whether it is writing, you must have a second line of your value added life to your career. It's not only your career, you must have a second option also always. So if you're good at drums, you must learn to play the drums. If you're good in guitar, you must do it. You have to find time. 24 hours is enough time for a person to invest in a day if you know how to invest it properly. Prioritize and go with your heart. Always follow your passion. Do what is right. You have to earn bread and everything for your family and everything, but at the same time, invest in what you like best. That second profession or whatever you call it should also be ready parallelly, and you have enough time. I don't also buy what people say, हमारे पास तो time नहीं है, कैसे करें? So that's it.
Yeah,
Thank
time
you.
management is the most important.
Time management, exactly.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, I feel like all the students in the meeting right now and everybody, every single people watching was like really grateful for your wise words. I think that was really, really motivational. Thank you so much. So, moving on, ma'am, you must be dealing with many children who are not only affected physically but mentally and emotionally as well. Like you mentioned before, people's words can really hurt and like lower their self-esteem. So, ma'am, exactly how do you deal with these children?
So, when these children come to me that they, for example, there was this child, she went to school and she didn't have a pair of shoes or something, she was so upset and the teacher virtually, made her stand out and said that ये बिल्कुल नहीं चलेगा तुम ऐसे ही चली आती हो बिल्कुल. And she had a genuine problem. She couldn't take a bath that day because there was no water. They didn't have enough buckets to have that much of water at home. Parents used the water up and on, and that day there was no municipal water in the outside municipal tap, and so many other problems. Then she came to me and she was crying and she says, I'm not going to go to school now. So it was a big challenge. So at that point of time, the best thing is you tell them that just listen to them. After that, I told the girl, okay, don't go tomorrow. Then I had a word with the teacher in the school. And then I spoke to the girl again. And of course, I told her it's extremely important that you have to, be clean. Not very beautiful or something, but be clean. So you have to somehow manage and do that. Then I had to look at the resources. We got her a bucket. एक bucket दिया उसको साबुन दिया एक toothbrush दिया वो दिया. And so the problem is not only in words that you can help. You have to sometimes give concrete help also. Because my trying to motivate her without giving her something to fall back on didn't make sense. So sometimes when these kind of situations, it depends on what. In this situation, I could help her that way. There's another situation in which the girl is emotionally upset because of some boy or somebody passing comments. For them, we have to tell them to be safe. We have to tell them to say a firm no. This is another thing with these children. We have to teach them which touch is right, which touch is wrong. For them, to teach them, to empower them, to educate them about this. So I do lots of these classes, more than, as Anshuman said, that we teach them and all, to make them morally strong, to tell them that this is not right and it's not acceptable, and whatever may be your status, you will never allow anybody to mar you or scar you in that manner. So we have to do a lot. In some places you have to give material help. In some places only listening helps. In some places you have to get to the source of the problem and tell the other party who has created the problem. So the various situations and various problems have, in school also we have the same kind of a situation. Children in small classes would come, he's taken my eraser, he's taken my pencil, and there's a fight, and he's poked the pencil in my eye and all. So same way, all that training has helped me to solve their problems also.
Ma'am,
Yes,
one more
you-
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, one more thing, as you said, is that we have to break the social divisions in order to bring in equality and not make these people feel backed out or something like that.
So in this, one very interesting thing, I don't know whether you heard about it. All know about Sudha Murthy, the Infosys
Yes,
chair,
ma'am.
right? So, when her child was small, and they had this maid come to their house and they gave her something to eat. तो जब उन्होंने मेड को कुछ खाने को दिया तो वो नीचे बैठ के खाना खाने लगी. So the boy, her boy, who's now doing very well, he said, they call them Ajji, Amma or something, he said, and he says कि आपने इसको नीचे क्यों दिया खाने को? वो भी तो हमारी तरह है. She's a human being too, because parents had been inculcating that kind of feeling in them. Then she realized that this is not the right thing to do. So she made the girl sit on the table and made her eat there along with them. So this was one little step which kind of showed that if we can start, charity always begins at home. You have to start from your home. So then she put them on the table next to her and they all started eating. So these kind of examples are very motivating, and she had narrated this example in some talk show.
Yes, ma'am, I've heard that interview.
Ma'am, the stories
Yes,
are
ma'am.
actually quite wholesome.
Yeah, really.
So, Nikita ma'am, what do you think our generation should do on our own level to help with this problem? Like, हम क्या करें इस चीज के लिए? Like, हमारे level पे, because we don't get what to do exactly. What people we should talk to about this, and whatever guidance you have, could you please tell us?
If you want to do very small things, small actions at a very small scale, just as Dhanna said earlier, that whenever you see such things happening, report it. Report it to the police. But before that, talk to the parent of the child. Talk to the child. Why is it happening? Why is the child being forced to do it? Educate the parent about this, about the laws that are there of the government. The Juvenile Justice Act, which leads the people to the prison, right? And so one is just reporting these cases, spreading awareness amongst um, the population, and educating the parents about free education, importance of education, about Juvenile Act. Then other things that you could do is probably raise funds for these students, support them by donating or raising funds, whatever suits you. And if you want to do something at a larger scale, then you can start by volunteering or interning with such organizations. I think you have a lot of, as ma'am said, 24 hours is a lot of time. You can give in probably 4-5 hours a week to volunteer with an organization. There are so many NGOs, so many public organizations that are there who are working for these causes. It's just your wish and what you are willing to do. So just start by volunteering. And I also started by volunteering in my college. And slowly and gradually, I realized when I was working that I need to move to the social sector. And so now you're in 10th, 11th grade, I'm assuming 10th, 11th grade.
Yeah.
You can start it right now. UN, UNICEF, these organizations also have amazing opportunities. It's just about your will and your intent, which will lead you to.
It's the awakening that has to happen within you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Sure.
ma'am.
And we'll all do something or the other for sure.
I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe everyone should give something to the society, every individual.
Yes, we will. And also, ma'am, we actually conducted a competition on this day. So a few people from the school only, they sent poems and speech and mono acts and expressing how they think that the children must be feeling about whatever is happening around them. So we have the list of the winners, and we'd like to announce them as well. So here they are. Okay. So on third position is Vanya Suri from class 9F. Congratulations. On second is Sweeney Mercury from 10th B and Pratyaksh Dubey, 6th F. Congratulations. And on the first is Kamakshi Joshi from 10th A. Congratulations.
What did they do? What did they write? They wrote a poem or what?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, they wrote poems and speeches.
That's so nice. They were there in class 4 when I was there, or 5, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
So nice. So nice. Remember
Yeah.
all of.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, remember you too. I have a lot of pictures with you as well, getting prizes and
Yes, ma'am.
in time. Same back to you, ma'am. And before concluding, would you like to give any last comments? Any three of all of you?
I just feel that you're in a very good organization and you all are doing a fantastic job. Before this also you had some kind of interaction with the underprivileged children where you, I think, did some dance and other things and gave them a platform to perform. I think it was about a fortnight ago or 1 month ago. And I've been to your program. I've seen how you all get involved, and that is the beginning because this is the fire which is already there inside you. We already have Nikita there doing such a fantastic job, and we have that young gentleman Anshuman Day. So nice to connect with you and to see that wonderful things are happening in the world, and COVID is not going to stop us from doing what we have to. And it is, COVID is there to stay, so don't worry. Just take your precautions and keep working and keep helping in whatever way you can. As Nikita rightly said, Anshuman rightly said, do whatever you can. 24 hours is a long time. You can plan it. 5 hours, 4 hours. You can just start even with half an hour a day or something. 15 minutes. Just talking to somebody also makes a difference. So make a difference in whatever way you can and let it be sustainable. Don't do something just because you have to be in the limelight or for an award or something. Do it because humanity needs it. We have to think about humanity now. Okay?
Yes,
right. Ma'am, exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
God bless all of you. Keep on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nikita, ma'am, would you like to say anything?
Firstly, thank you for inviting me here. It's lovely to be back to my school again and be here with Ranjana ma'am and Sumana ma'am and Shikra ma'am. It's amazing. And secondly, congratulations to all of you that you've started working. You're working in this. You've started this club and you're working on this, having such discussions, organizing competitions. It's amazing. You've started your own thing. And good luck to you guys for the future. And I hope you will achieve great things.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I think we need.
So, Anshuman sir, before we end, would you have any comments
words.
as well?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
right. So, firstly, I'm amazed looking at the young generation, so proactive. I mean, I'm also one of you guys, but then I had very less hopes 6 months ago, because I was seeing a lot of toxicity, and it's no joke that a lot of toxicity today, it runs through the social media, and I see a lot of youth being involved actively into those things, and which is actually being a very big reason for why today you see the restlessness with what is prevalent today. But then when I started working with the people, I came across a lot of diligent guys. Even the team that I have built, they are so dedicated, and I just so love working with them. At the same time, I see all of you guys, I see your profiles, and I'm so happy that the world today is changing for good. Actually, apart from that, just I'd say one thing. It's like it goes very simple. We need to actually sideline our personal differences just for one cause, not because it would bring us awards, as Ranjana ma'am said and Nikita ma'am said, just not because it would give us recognition, because it is our primary duty as a human. It is our primary duty, not just, again, as a human, we should not just limit ourselves to the humans, because we should also be the voice of the people of the other species that also walk the earth equally as we do. So keeping aside the personal differences, I believe that we should come together for one cause, which is to save this earth and do something so that the coming generations would get a lot out of it, and they don't suffer just like the way we are doing at this moment. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely, Tim. Absolutely.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
now this was a really fruitful session. So now I'd like to invite Shreya, the Vice President of the Social Outreach Committee, to give the vote of thanks.
A very good morning to each and everyone present here. As the Vice President of the Social Outreach Committee, I, Shreya Pankaj, heartfelt gratitude to all our panelists on behalf of the entire Inayat family. Ranjana ma'am, Nikita ma'am, and Anshuman sir, thank you for taking out the time out of your hectic schedule to join this much needed conversation on the severity of child labor. It is a filthy practice that needs to be eradicated, and this webinar was Inayat's attempt to spread awareness on this issue. I want to thank our school for giving us this opportunity to conduct this webinar. I also want to thank our teachers, Sumana ma'am and Shipra ma'am, without whom this event just wouldn't be possible, and all the students who worked tirelessly to make this event a success. Last but definitely not the least, I want to thank all our viewers for joining us today. Hope you all have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for putting in.
Thank you so much, ma'am and sir, for coming in here.
Thank you. Stay connected, Nikita and Anshuman. I'll just get your numbers and I'll stay connected, and let's see what all we can do. Thank you.
A proposition to Ranjana ma'am and Nikita at the same time, that we are actually, like, from the Week for Tomorrow team, we're actually looking forward to build certain projects for the betterment of the underprivileged children and the children as a whole. So I'd really love to have your support and the support of Inayat at the same time. So I'll connect for the same, and I surely look forward to working with you all for the project.
I look forward to meeting you and hugging you, both of you, and all the kids there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.